Good morning. This is the December post-board meeting video report. Wanted to give you an update on our conversations that we've had last night. Again, another amazing school board meeting. A lot of great things that a couple really important things were discussed last night. Wanted to get everyone caught up to speed on. But a great school board. We had great attendance. It was a really fun night. I want to direct you to the district webpage. There you can see the minutes from the entire board meeting. I don't cover every single little minor thing. I cover all the action items and any update on any new business. So if there's ever anything in the minutes that you want to have questions or discussion about, please contact me. Because I don't go through all the individual reports from the administrators and things that are happening in the buildings and our director of communications report, but a lot of great things are in those reports. You can see how many wonderful things our employees do for our kids and how great our students are in our district and all the wonderful things that they're doing. So just jumping right into some of the things that I covered. One, right now we have the board election is open for filing. We've had our three incumbent board members, Ann Coleman, Adam Blevins, and Matt Greenwald. They have all signed up and filed again to be continuing our board. Very excited about our board and how we're progressing and the movement we're making for students and kids. I just love their approach. So anyways, that's going on. Wanted to update you on my entry plan. As you all know, I've committed to some activities and promised to complete some tasks prior or as I've transitioned into the school district. And one of those items was that I was going to meet with every single employee in the district, and I've accomplished that. So we have about 327 employees. I have a few different groups I still want to meet with. I'm going to meet with all the substitute employees, and I'm going to also meet with some of our contracted employees that have been with the district for a while, just to get their perspective on an outsider and what it's like coming to Spring. But it has been remarkable, the experience meeting with our staff. I want you to know that I've never felt such confidence in knowing that we have just such a wonderful group working with our kids. And as I've met with them and I've seen their hearts and their desires for just greatness, we're just so blessed to be in the school district that we're in and be able to serve with such a phenomenal group, from bus drivers to kitchen cooks to custodians to teachers, administrators, just all across the board, paras, support staff. It's just remarkable the kind of people that we have, and I've really been able to see into their hearts as we sat down, for about a 25-30 minute meeting with each of them, and just really got to hear their story and talk about the strengths and opportunities for growth of the district. So it's been a remarkable event, and I really appreciate Rochelle Meets, especially in my office, for her willingness to just manage my crazy schedule this semester, and all the support staff that have helped in the buildings to manage our schedules, and Ben Fisher as well, who's really done a lot to keep my life focused and to keep me organized and ready to go to meet with different groups. The other thing that I've concluded is I've been on every bus route. I actually have a bus I'm riding today and one tomorrow, and I'll have all my bus routes done. So I've been throughout the district. I've seen many homes. I've seen many nooks and crannies of the district. We have a 159 square mile district, so there's a lot of territory to drive on. Really good experience, and just want to give a shout out to all our bus drivers for the wonderful work that they do. I feel tremendously blessed to be part of the school district and to be able to serve in this wonderful community. So that's the update on my plan. So that's kind of where that at. The next part of my plan will transition really to strategic planning. We're going to get to that today a little bit. But prior to we get into that discussion, last night I visited with the board regarding some work that we've been doing here at Central Office, or here in the districts, to analyze our technology. We have essentially two components of technology that we've wanted to evaluate. One was from technology and the impact on student brains, the impact on instruction, how it's being utilized in learning. We've been a very innovative district, kind of getting on the cusp, at least in this region, kind of leading the charge of technology implementation and one-to-one implementation several years ago. And so now what we're really at is wanting to evaluate, because so much has been learned during that time in research and different things on how to utilize devices in the right way. So we're wanting to evaluate and make sure that we're using those as a tool, and they haven't become the only, such a a priority in the district, but also something that can help continue to make our students become innovative. The other piece of that is we've had conversations about the device and the investment that we've put into the type of devices. And so last night I really talked to the board and shared with them the process that we've been going through. We have a committee of teachers and staff members across the district that have been evaluating our technology plan and model. And so one of the things that we came together on our last technology committee meeting was just a conversation about specifically about the device. We've been kind of having our conversations geared to more just instruction and trying to figure out what is it that we need, and then we can talk about devices. But it kind of came down to the point where we really need to get beyond the device and talk about just how to move forward there with the device. And then over the next several months, as we develop a deeper level part of our action planning for our strategic plan, we're going to have an opportunity to really embed some actions to tackle the instructional side of technology and its use. But I felt like we needed to have the conversation about the type of device. So just some numbers that I shared. Part of our job and responsibility that we're going to be held accountable to, especially with the new strategic plan, is being good, fiscally responsible, and so finding the best way to maximize our resources. And just to give a little indication, right now, and I'm summing up a bunch of different things, but over the last 4 years, we have spent 1.9, almost 2 million, just shy of $2 million on devices. Just not iPads. We do have iPads in the primary and the second grade, but laptops from the elementary, intermediate, middle school, and high school. So we spent about $2 million. The current lease that we have just agreed upon last year, with the high school, the new devices at the high school, it was about a 13% increase in cost for the new device as opposed to what the device was that we were using before. And so over the past 4 years at just the high school alone, we've spent $722,000. The new lease is for around $820,000. So it's about a 13% increase for those devices. So the cost per device that we've been spending on the lease that we've been purchasing is around $1,300, just shy of $1,300 per device that we've been paying. And so if we don't make a shift and we continue to replace all the current devices across the building with the same devices that we have now, we can expect on spending about $286,000 more in the next 3 years just to upgrade all the devices that are in those other buildings that need to be upgraded. So if you kind of look at so one of the things that I did just kind of quickly is I did a little research to find out what the top performing school districts in the state of Missouri, based off of academic performance, what kind of devices they're using. And so I just pulled a list, just doing some Google searches: Lee Summit, Blue Springs, Rockwood, Smithville, Parkway, Lindbergh, Fort Zumwalt, Wentzville, Nixa. They were the highest performing school districts in the state. And I started doing some research to find out what kind of devices were they using and how much were they spending on devices. And what's interesting about this particular group, such as Rockwood, you have some of the most affluent school districts in the entire state. So you'd think districts that have a lot of money, they're going to go for a high-end device. Those districts were spending anywhere from $280 to $400 per device. There was no district that I found that was spending more than $375, $400 per device. And so actually each one of those districts that I mentioned, and again, we're not necessarily trying to be those districts. In my opinion, we're going to try to make our district the best and try to really be our own. But they're doing it with a device that's $375 or so, and all the school districts are utilizing a Chromebook device, a Chrome-based browser. And one of the things that's changed since I think when we went through the process way back when is, a lot of the educational platforms, they weren't using, not everything was Chrome-based. You had to have software, downloaded onto your device to be able to do it. Well, now all these companies, software companies that are used in schools, they've all gone to Chrome-based or they've all gone to cloud-based. And so really, most of what we do in schools can be done through a web browser. And so we've had a lot of conversations about that, about, why are other schools doing it, and the cost and return on investment. So if we're spending $1,300 with that device, is it leading us to $1,300 worth of quality of learning per kid, or can we accomplish the same goal at a much more affordable economical price? And the other thing to note is these schools with these devices, most of these devices all come with a 4-year accidental warranty. So if they are accidentally broken, they replace those devices right away for free. A non-touch device is around $280. So if you don't need the touch screen, it's a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable. If you need it, then it's going to be about $380 for a touch device. But that 4-year unlimited warranty is really a big deal. You think about kids that maybe can't afford a repair if it's accidentally broke, and we're charging them, and we're just having a lot of issues on the back end trying to get those charges actually collected, because again, we're spending $1,300 a device, so there is a little bit of responsibility on the kids, and it's just not working really well. So the other topic we talked about as part of strategic planning is a concept called strategic abandonment, that there's going to be a time during the process of becoming great that we're going to have to look at some things that were good and recognize that it's okay. We're going to have to move on beyond those things that were good to be great. And so this is one of the things we feel like is, in the past we've gone a certain route and it's worked well. We've learned a lot from it, and we want to recognize the good and the hard work that's been done to get the type of devices we've had. But if you look at where we're needing to go with strategic planning and advancing the school district, we need to make sure we're being fiscally responsible, and certainly technology and the money that we can save there will help. It won't be able to cover everything we want to do, but it's definitely going to help and put us in the right direction. So if you were to look at the current spending track, if we were to go from spending $1,300 on a device, $1,250 on a device, to $400 device, even a top end kind of Chromebook type of device, we would save around $1.5 million in the next couple of years, the next 3 years, that could be utilized to advance the district and progress. So you're talking about a significant amount of dollars. Matter of fact, if we were to buy devices, Nixa, for example, they just purchased 2,000 Chromebooks for their district, and they spent $600,000 or $800,000 for 2,000 devices. So we have, including pre-K, we're a little over 1,800 kids. So we could do over, in theory, you could buy a device for every single human child in this district for, probably around $700,000. That's the cost that it's going to cost us. That's less than the cost it would be for us to pay for just the lease that's on the current devices at the high school, which is over $800,000. So you can see from an affordability standpoint that this just makes sense. The other thing to take note with these expensive devices is that with the amount that with the high-end dollar devices, when they do break, it's a significant repair cost. I have just kind of briefly calculated some of the repairs, and we're talking about, we have budget line items over the last few years, one line item that's $133,000 worth of repairs, plus thousands of extra dollars. So I actually just briefly did some numbers, and for the amount of repairs that I've just initially on the surface looked at and seen, we could have bought 330 new $400 or so devices. So from an economic standpoint, it's really critical that we kind of look at this. So I compared it last night to, we've had kind of the Cadillac of devices. We've had the top end Cadillac car as a device, and now we're going to have to transition to a Ford, and that doesn't mean that's bad, because Ford still is a good device. Cars, Ford still has some really good options, and so we want to help teachers understand that, and our students understand that we're just trying to be really good fiscally responsible and still provide innovation for our kids and take them to that next level, which we feel we can do. When I talk to the students, I've talked to the student council, they all mentioned to me that really all they need is a browser, somewhere to be able to compose essays, and somewhere to be able to do presentations, and that's really what they're using devices for. So we really don't need these complex devices. Now there may be some classes where we'll need a device that has a higher functionality that can do a lot more things. I can think of our multimedia class and different things like that, where we may need a few devices or a handful of devices to be able to do that. So future budget considerations, we have employee salaries and benefits. We have to take care of our staff. That's something that we're going to have to be really aggressive on. We need to allocate new resources to the classroom. We're talking already about expanding new programs, potential new facilities to expand early childhood, and some other things that will come down the pike. So we have a lot going on that we're going to need to be taking care of financially as well. So bottom line, we're not going to spend, I've kind of set the stage that we're not going to spend more than $400 per device. That would be the top end. Hopefully we can stay closer to $300, but definitely not over $400 per those devices as we transition forward. And so what will happen in January, we have devices coming for our IT department. They're looking at a bunch of different affordable devices, Chromebooks and other devices, to see how they work within our infrastructure. And then we're sending some staff out in January to start exploring and just talking to people that are using these devices in the classroom. So exciting, I think exciting opportunity. Again, appreciate all the hard work the district has done to get us to be innovative, and now we're just ready to take it to the next level. We did have our annual audit last night. Just want to give a quick shout out to that. You can see our full audit. We had a great clean audit. As far as I can see, everything was pretty smooth and clean. The only finding we had is a finding regarding segregation of duties. It's something about 90% of all the school districts that our auditing firm gets that finding because of our size. We can't segregate every single thing, but our staff here in the office, they do a great job of making sure there's cross training and duties are really segregated, so no one really has control. Like I cannot go in and cut myself a check because it's just not something I can do. We have all those pieces in place, so very smooth audit. Final thing I want to get at, I want to share with you, is that last night we had several community members that are part of our strategic planning team come and present to the Board of Education our first phase of our strategic plan. I want to give a shout out to the following who came and were in attendance: Sally Bagg, Ryan Hamilton, Ryan Quick, Sophie Condro, Corey Huddleston, Amanda Rogers, Sheila Thomas. Appreciate you being in our board meeting and sharing and just being part of a support system for the process. We met last week. We met with for 3 full days. We had representatives across the community and parent groups, and also students and staff members work pretty tirelessly to just try to figure out how to make the best structure possible for our kids. And we came together in a united way. I really felt like our committee hit the core values of our community and really developed an initial structure of a strategic plan that can lead us to great improvement and growth. We have, again, a great district, but this is going to help really bring us together. So what they worked on is they identified our core belief structures, our core beliefs, and came up with several statements that encompass the beliefs of the community. We worked on identifying some parameters that we're going to, a standard of excellence that we're going to work within and we're going to aspire to follow as a district. We developed a new mission statement, which was really critical. We identified key objectives that are measurable, key objectives that we're going to analyze on an annual basis and monitor. And then we developed 7 different strategies to focus on school improvement and areas. And we had a data binder. Each person had a huge book, and we were looking at both internal data that we had, external data, external threats, all those different opportunities for growth, and really came up with a really solid structure. So the Board of Education was presented that information last night, and they approved it 7-0, a unanimous support, which was a critical part. And it was important that they approved that first phase. So they approved all those pieces I described and what's going to happen over the next several months. Actually, the date you need to know about is January 21st at 6:30 p.m. at the middle school. That is going to be open to any staff member or any community member who would like to be part of action planning. That we're going to have a kickoff there, and we're going to start breaking up in groups. You're going to see the strategies, and over the next several months, it's going to be a pretty intensive, focused and hard work of developing the bones of the strategic plan. So the strategic planning committee really developed kind of the outside skeleton, or the framework, and this is who we are, this is who we want to be, and these are the strategy areas. And then anyone, including our staff members and community, can begin to develop the nuts and bolts of the plan, all those details. And so it's going to be a very labor-intensive process over the next several months, but once we get it, we're going to really be able to move together as a district. So what I'm going to do, actually, we're going to wait on January 6th. We're going to meet with the staff, and at that time, we're going to have all the publications come out of the strategic plan. She'll be able to read through all the work that the team created at this point. That'll all be out on January 6th, January 7th. When we come back from break, we thought that would be a good time to just release it, to everyone. So very excited, and we're really appreciative of our community. Again, they came, they wanted to be a voice at the board meeting. They're going to come, many of them are going to come to the next meeting with their staff when we kick it off, because this is really a community-led initiative. I think anybody you ask will tell you that it's been, it was all, the voices that were heard from the community were probably the loudest voices, and really united with our staff and what our employees wanted. So it's really important that we move together as a team, and that this isn't tied to any individual. And it certainly is. We had to have consensus through the entire process. So there's checks and balances in the entire process. So now planning teams will work. They'll come back and present to the strategic planning team. If the strategic planning team's good, then it'll get presented to the board in May for approval, with ready to kick off next year. So there's never been, I think, just greater excitement that I've seen in the school than right now, and the movement we're making. So be looking out for that information coming out right after break, so you can hear all the great things with our strategic plan and where we're heading. The last thing we discussed would be just we did approve a wage increase for our food service substitutes. From 9 hour, our base was $9 an hour. We raised it to, because the minimum wage increased to $9.45, so we raised that. But that was it. We had a great board meeting. What a great district. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. This is a phenomenal time of year to really appreciate and value family, and to enjoy just those that you love the most. And just want to wish everybody a safe and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Take care.